Welcome to Sliding into Skills. First, I'd like to begin with a read-aloud called Ashley's Big Adventure by Ashley Valencia Pate. An email danced up from my inbox asking for applicants for the 2019 Oklahoma State University Writing Project. I nervously filled out the form, excited by the thought of working with other teachers to study the Tulsa Race Massacre before its centennial. Wonderful news came, and I had the opportunity to participate in the OSU Writing Project Summer Institute. I felt elated. One day, Dr. Whitty told me not only did this project mean I would receive training on various tools to support my students during the inquiry project, but I could also receive master's level credit for my participation. If you think I applied for a master's program, go to page 9. If you think I decided I had enough to focus on, go to page 6. I'm going to pick page 9. Back to school. When looking at programs, I decided reading and literacy called out to me because I never quite understood how it felt to not enjoy reading or how it felt to have difficulty reading. I knew becoming a reading specialist could help me increase literacy skills in my high school classroom. Right before spring break, the world shifted. COVID-19 had disrupted the flow of our lives, and no one knew what would come next. Everyone had to go home. I paired the tools I learned about during the summer with the tools my professor used in our online classes to meet my students' needs. As part of my master's program, everyone in our reading assessment and instruction class would tutor a student. Because of the virus, we all had to tutor over Zoom. I felt nervous, but I knew I could use Google Slides, Anchor FM, and other tools to make the experience worthwhile. I wanted to make sure I always received the writing from the sessions. My tutee loved Choose Your Own Adventure books, so I had to figure out a way to make it work. Good teaching starts with great mentor texts and modeling. By using epic books, my tutee and I read and explored many Choose Your Own Adventure books. Afterwards, we created our own through Google Slides and incorporated links to help navigate our stories. And now, I know it worked, because storytelling is multilinear, and exploring those options can lead to a feeling of play. The end. To make a different choice, turn back to page 5. And if we click page 5, it brings us back, and then we can follow the prompts. The writing process and how to plan. First, I started off with a plot diagram and mapped out the story, where I wanted it to start, the inciting incident, what the rising action could be, the climax, the falling action, and finally the resolution of the story. Next, zooming in on each of those parts can help a writer decide where the choice would be made for the character or characters they decide to have multiple pathways in this story. So deciding what the exposition would be and drafting can all happen in a box on a slideshow, and then deciding the point of view. Most of the time, Choose Your Own Adventure books use a second person point of view, but that doesn't mean that students should have to. Then looking in on the inciting incident, there was an opportunity, which meant this was the perfect place for a character to make a choice. After writing what the inciting incident is, adding however many choices you want to be made to the bottom is how to make the pathway start for the Choose Your Own Adventure. Once you get to the rising action, separate stories are taking place, so each option needs to be written out in a way that makes sense. The climax can be different depending on the story. It could be the same for either path. And then the falling action also could be another place where more choices might be made that leads to separate resolutions. In order to add art, there's different options. Option 1 is to use original art, where students can take pictures of their original art, download the image, and insert it into a slide. Or if they're older and they have phones, or if they're using iPads or other tablets that they can take pictures on, they can upload it directly to the Google Slides app. Option number 2 is to use digital art, which means they could use digital creations, such as something on Canva, Bitmoji, or Creative Commons images. The formatting process and bringing the book to life. Hyperlinks are what makes this process work. So highlighting the page number, using either Control K or Command K to open a link, and then linking that page to the appropriate slide in the slideshow. Shapes are another option to do this. Controls how the reader moves, and you can use transparent shapes, or you can change the fill and the line color to a different color if you want it to be a button. To prevent a reader from just going in a linear fashion, and to make sure that they have to follow whatever the progression is for each pathway, linking a transparent rectangle to the current slide and sending it to the back of all the other images means that no matter where the reader is going to click, it will only keep them on that page unless they click the specific button like turn the page or turn to page and then a certain page number. And when you add a button, you do the same thing. You create a shape and you link it to the appropriate slide. So either the next slide, if you're currently on slide 3, it'd be slide 4, or if it's a turn the page 2, then it's whatever page corresponds with that. So now let's try it. I have been really wanting to go to the beach, so I'm going to give myself a nice calm background and head over to Bitmoji, copy my Bitmoji to my clipboard, and then paste it on my slide. Now I can also just type in this text box. So there's 2 different options, and we're just going over the formatting, so this story is not well developed, but that is okay. You can add shapes to create buttons. So select a shape, and then I can put my number, could be say 6. And instead of trying to make them match by creating another shape, copying and pasting it makes it really easy to do this. And then the last step is to match your fonts. Since this is Arial 25, we'll click in this box and make it 25 and make this one 25 as well. The final step is to link this to that slide. So I'm going to just put it slide 8 in this presentation, Control K or Command K, slide 6. And now all my components are ready, except if I go to slideshow mode right now, if I click anywhere else, it just goes to the next one, and we don't want that. So we're going to make a big rectangle. My pro tip for this is to zoom out and make it, because sometimes when you're doing this and you try to link it, the link box goes really low as it is now, and then that makes it really hard to see and select the right slide. We're on slide 30, so we will make this slide 30. Go to Arrange, Order, and send it to back. And now we're going to make it transparent with the line. Okay, so now I can click anywhere and it won't move, but if I click here, it brings me to 8. And if I were to click on the other one, it would bring me to that one. Let's go back. Now the research and why this works. Research shows that strategies used in remote settings can be effective in traditional or hybrid settings, which means that this could be used in either a face-to-face classroom or an online classroom. And Wohlwend shows that play uses looping plot threads, and students use their background knowledge and schema to develop those plot threads and then employ individual creative visions for how the story should unfold. Using a choose-your-own-adventure story will make students feel more comfortable and give them a chance to explore those different looping plot threads instead of trying to focus on one and then possibly feeling stuck.